Morning, gents. What's happening?
Not much. I'm going to get rid of this doctor here. It's a little too formal.
It's a little too formal.
Friday morning chats.
So R blank, welcome, my friend.
Hey
How's
guys.
it going?
How's
Good,
it going?
thanks. How are you?
Yeah, no, we're
Good.
all as we're getting shirts that say "consummate fucking professionals" because like every show,
I keep joking, but it's going to show up at Matt's store one day.
yeah, there's always something going on around here. But yeah, and R, every time I talk to you, I see this beautiful background. Remind me again, are you in Panama? Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my backyard.
It probably sucks.
Did you move
right
there
now.
for the surfing or the diving?
I ended up here unintentionally.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does that happen? How do you end up in a foreign country accidentally?
You take a travel plan and then you throw in a global pandemic. And so I was in Panama and I had 48 hours before they shut all the airports for what ended up being 7 months. And I decided not to, because the only place I could go was back to the States. And I really didn't want to get in a metal tube.
Breathing other people's air during a plague.
Yeah. Because we didn't know anything about it really then, because this was March. And so I stayed. And after 6 months, they released the quarantine so I could leave Panama City, but I still couldn't leave the country because the airports were still closed. So I just started traveling around the country and I found this town and decided to stay.
The rest is history. Yeah. Sometimes it's just weird how shit just works out, right?
Yeah, Horrible experience turns into the right kind of nudge.
Yeah.
And it is funny. I've talked to so many people, especially with the show. I guess we get a chance to talk to a lot of people a lot of times. You're right, very frequently. But I have talked to a lot of people since COVID that are, working, that we've all heard this term digital nomad way too much. But like that thing that, is a thing, right? And when I talk to those people and you peel it back, most people ended up doing that just because they're like, hey, I know we all grew up realized like being told that this isn't how you go to work or this isn't how you earn a living, but now you have all these options. So like the hardest part was just giving ourselves permission to actually do something different than our parents told us.
Yeah. Well, I came from the software industry,
right?
Originally, and this was, I wouldn't say it was common, but it was certainly normal.
Sure.
For
more
developers,
normal than other people
to be working and for software dev teams to be based in different parts around the world and working together. So this was a workflow and a lifestyle I was familiar with.
Right. But I've been in software development for 25 years but I've always had it like, oh, my teams could be remote. But like I have to be somewhere. And then Hurricane Sandy came along and wiped out our office in Hoboken, New Jersey. And I was basically like, well, okay, well, that's gone. So now what? Like, I guess we don't really have to go here. That's but anyway, so cool. Panama is beautiful. It's gorgeous. And I hate that you're there and I'm not. That looks beautiful outside.
You should hate that you're there.
Yeah.
Well, that's a more productive.
Most days we do. It's not Baltimore we hate.
Yeah. Well, I have a place down in Costa Rica, so I love I like that vibe. And I mean, if I'm being honest, I can
Pura vida.
Pura vida, yeah. And it's funny, I see that more and more now. I think the secret's decidedly out about Costa Rica, but
yeah, I love Costa Rica.
It's amazing.
Life in Panama is definitely easier than Costa Rica, but the nature in Costa Rica is just up there. Stunning.
What's easier about life in Panama?
I'd say everything.
Hard to imagine being easier than those guys.
And again, I haven't been there since before COVID, but
sure.
The roads here are paved throughout the whole country.
That's not a thing in Costa Rica.
The internet is good.
They have fiber into sheds in the middle of the rainforest, but so that part they got under control. But
that was not my experience in Costa Rica, and the import duties there make cars super expensive and TVs super expensive, and so there's just it's much simpler and easier to maintain aspects of Western life here than it is in Costa Rica.
From the airport to my place is about an hour. And the last time I was there, it took us almost 4 because we were behind a funeral that was walking for a Del Monte executive, right? So they were all wearing Del Monte shirts, and the cemeteries are above ground, like, and
Same.
so they were literally 1,000 people walking across the main road on both lanes for like miles. It took us almost 4 hours to do that same trip. I'm like, fuck, what is going on? They can't just let us through. And like, they're like, no, we're at a funeral, dude. You wait for us. What? Of course, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Like, and you're like, oh, okay. So
yeah, definitely have to have patience.
Yeah. Patience is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
So let's get into it, man. Like you've had an interesting past, and I love what you're doing now. And let's kind of like paint a quick picture of how you got to where you're at, and then I want to dig in on the on all the RF stuff.
Okay, cool. And by the way, one of my dogs is misbehaving. Can you hear her?
No, but even if you did,
the first pet to be on our show.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. We've had several pets make an appearance on our show. Yeah. So,
I'm sorry. Where did you want me to begin?
Yeah, just tell us how you got here. I know you got an interesting backstory, right? Like you got like you said, you came from software and stuff like that. So
yeah. Well, so I had a career in software engineering. I had an agency, client work, custom software and experiences for Fortune 500 companies. But I was getting really tired of it. And my father, Dr. Martin Blank, who was one of the world's leading researchers into the issues around the health effects of electromagnetic fields, he asked me for help. He had a book contract to write basically everything he learned about this issue in 30 plus years of research. And make it addressable to common people, not scientists, but normal people. And so he asked me to help. And so I co-authored what ended up becoming called Overpowered, which is still today one of the top reviews of EMF health effects. And it was in the course of writing that book that I came up with the idea for what became Shield Your Body. And that's centered in the notion that there is no doubt that electromagnetic fields are harmful to human health and, in fact, the health of all biological things. And it's not going anywhere. Sure. So we need to have safer ways of interacting with and relating with our technology. And so that's where Shield Your Body started. And so,
and can I ask you to plug your father's book too?
Yeah. So that book is Overpowered.
Overpowered? Okay.
Yeah, Overpowered. And it's available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle.
Yeah, I think when you and I first talked, I did a little bit of Googling on your dad. I mean, he was definitely early on and into it, it looked like.
Yeah, he got into this work in the 80s.
Yeah. Wow. Which had to have been, I mean, he had to be a party of one back then, no?
I mean, there was absolutely no one talking about 5G or anything then.
Well, yeah, there was no 5G.
Yeah, right. I mean, like...
they weren't, he wasn't quite a party of one. In fact, the way he got into this, right, because, in the early 80s, my father believed what he'd been taught, which is that these forces were biologically inert. They had no impact on human health. And that's what he was teaching his students at Columbia Medical School. And one day he read this study by Dr. Reba Goodman that pointed to the contrary, that showed that there was a biological impact of these fields. And he noticed that Dr. Goodman was in the same building as him. So he went over to her office and started talking about it. And that started what became a decades-long collaboration of the two of them publishing multiple studies together. So from the very beginning, he was not alone, but he did face significant opposition.
Well, I mean, and that's a great spot to start, right? Like, this is something that I think if I was a cell phone company, or I was a Wi-Fi router company, or I was Apple with the Apple watches, like, I mean, pretty much anybody who makes anything now, like Bose headphones, I mean, you know, I don't want some knucklehead running around telling people that this thing's killing them, right? Like, I definitely don't want that. Right?
And you don't want the government telling you how much of it can emit.
Correct. And so, like, I guess my question really is like, I mean, can we start with like the highest is like, how fast is this shit killing us? Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's start there.
What is it doing to us?
Yeah,
even
and what
first?
is it doing?
Is it killing us? Is it just making us sterile? What's happening?
Do you remember in the 80s, people said, don't stand in the same room as your microwave oven, right?
Yeah.
And like, there was this whole thing around that. That feels like it got debunked at some point, or
didn't.
We just got used to it.
I mean, the instruction manuals tell pregnant women not to use them. So,
really?
I mean,
wow.
Microwave ovens are super high sources of electromagnetic fields, they exist on this spectrum of different frequencies. And so 5G is one set of frequencies, Wi-Fi is another set of frequencies. And those are what we call radio frequencies or microwaves. And then also anything that runs on AC power is another source of electromagnetic fields. And those are what we call extremely low frequency or ELF. And so when you have a microwave oven, you have extraordinarily high microwave radiation, and you have extraordinarily high ELF radiation from the power source that's required to generate that level of microwave radiation. And so you're getting this massive double dose. And so people shouldn't use microwaves. And if they do, they should definitely be in another room, or at least as far away as possible when it's on. Because distance really makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. I mean, I know when you look at specific absorption rate numbers, they say it's logarithmic. So if you hold your Apple Watch 1 millimeter away from your skin versus 4 millimeters away from your skin, it's like a wildly different reading, right?
Yeah,
like,
it follows. It's called the inverse square law. If any of your listeners want to Google it,
get down the rabbit hole deeper. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's basically every time you double the distance between you and whatever source you're talking about, you're cutting the power of your exposure by 75%.
So wearing your Apple Watch on a spacer half an inch above your skin would kind of make a monstrous difference.
It would. It would.
Right,
It'd still be high.
Possible to do it. Yeah.
It'd still be high, but and we actually make a product, and the reason I'm gonna I'll tell you the problem with what you're saying. We make a product called the wristband, the SYB wristband, which is designed specifically to reduce your exposure to radiation from products like the Apple Watch. The thing with the wristband is, though, because it removes contact between the watch and your body, it kills all the biometric functionality, which is what a lot of people use these watches for.
Yeah, I think that, like, I've thought about that a bunch of times too. And the thing I came across with is like, look, there are certain times where I want my specific oxygen, or I want my heart rate, or I want something else, right? Like, but for the most part, I want to find out if somebody texted me. I want to like count my steps for the day. I'm doing stuff that doesn't necessarily need to be touching my body, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and maybe I could snap it on and off if I'm at the gym and I need something a little bit more, you know, heavy duty. And I know some people are using it for sleep tracking and all that other stuff. So that's a little different story, I think, as well.
Yeah. So this is a moment in which I'll pitch the Aura Ring. Which because that you can you can use in effectively airplane mode. I
did a client project with this. These guys are another company out of China that we found. It's like a knockoff or off-brand Aura ring that is called JC Ring. And we sort of our hope was to white label a version of that for the show, actually, and have like an app. But turns out Apple is kind of a bunch of douchebags when it comes to
everything.
Approving an app,
except product design. I'm on a Mac right now, so
product design is one thing, but like, and you'll laugh at this because A, you're a software guy, and B, you know, you make products. But we went to Apple. We had this watch. This band does one thing and one thing only. It detects your body temperature and heart rate ratio.
So it tells you if you're alive.
Correct.
Exactly.
Do you know what Apple told me that I needed?
Is there an alert if you die?
It's even funnier than that. When he told me about this project, I was cracking up. It was amazing.
Rickroll your loved ones with your funeral announcement.
You can automatically release a fuck you
can tweet
video.
your followers, or you could delete your browser history. It's fucking hilarious, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Apple sent me, and I have all the emails from them, and it's my intention to someday write a good blog post on the site about this. But like, they literally said, I need a scientifically backed case study that proves your claims. And I wrote back, I'm like, my claims that a heart rate means you're alive? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, what do you mean?
Was this for the App Store or something?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Yeah. So we ended up having to release it in test flight only for, a known section of users, which ended up working for our purposes. But like, it made me realize, I'm like, God, if you want to get an actual app out there, like in this space, it's fucking impossible. And they would do it on a per thing basis. So like heart rate is one thing. They actually, like, literally, I had to go through 18 layers of tech support till I got somebody on a call who laughed. He's like, yeah, so I don't know that you're going to find many scientifically valid studies on this. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to find any, because no one needs to write a study.
No one ever argues that.
Like,
no. So further to your point, cell phones have the ability to measure EMF.
Do they really?
Yeah, and if you go to the Google Play Store, you'll find several apps that you could use to measure EMF on your phone.
What are they using to measure that?
There's sensors inside the phone.
Get out of here.
They're not as effective or accurate as real meters, but they still work.
Look at you.
I had no idea. That's wild.
Yeah, but what I was going to say is you will not find those apps in the Apple App Store because they do not allow them.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because that's more to keep you from finding out how much your phone is killing you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So back to your point or question, Tom. What is EMF doing to you? Mm-hmm. And the answer that I try to explain this with, and I'm sorry, I'm moving around. It's a habit.
No, do what you got to do. I just adjusted
the
everything.
answer that I give when people ask a question like that is what the story the science is telling us is that we find these health effects in basically every biological system in which we look for them. So obviously brain tumors get the headlines because it's terrifying. But it goes all the way to, you mentioned sterility. So there's infertility, subfertility. It's in terms of the cancers, it's not just brain tumors. It's effectively every type of cancer that it's linked to. Sexual performance, anxiety, sleep disruption is a huge one. Sure. Depression, leakage of the blood-brain barrier, something called the microwave auditory effect, which manifests as tinnitus or tinnitus. I always go back and forth on how I'm supposed to say that.
Everybody says it. Yeah, I think everybody says it both ways. I can't really. Yeah.
So I just said it both ways.
Yeah. I mean, people are like, nobody knows the right answer to this question.
Depending on which part of the country someone's listening to, they'll love it.
So, but really, it is, and that's just what I was just talking about are human impacts. We see it in animals. It's linked to colony collapse disorder in bees.
I was just going to say, I heard something about bees recently.
Yeah, anything, because there's a lot of birds, insects, and sea life that use magnetoception for navigation, right? So they use the Earth's own magnetic field to know where the fuck they're going.
Right.
And when you blast the planet with all of these magnetic fields, it throws off magnetoception. Which is one of the theories about how it contributes to colony collapse disorder, because the bees can't find their way back to their hives.
That's wild.
How can it impact so many different forms of life is obviously a reasonable question, right? When you step back and like when I listen to myself, I'm saying this is the cause of everything, right? And that's not, well, I'm not saying it's the cause of everything. It can cause a super wide range of things, but how can it have that impact? And there's no definitive answer on that yet, but I can give an example of one of the mechanisms that is very well established. And this goes back to research done in the 1990s by doctors Henry Lyon and Narendra Singh that showed that even brief exposure to cordless phone radiation, because this was the early 90s, they were testing cordless phones, even brief exposure led to significant spikes in strand breaks of DNA.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
So, and the increased rate of strand breaks continued for hours after the exposure. And this is peer-reviewed research that has been replicated many, many times in the decades since. And when you gents probably know this, but just to explain it to some listeners who might not, right? DNA consists of two strands that form that double helix. And so when both strands break, the cell dies. And or kills itself, apoptosis. And that's, in this scenario, actually the preferred outcome. You want the cell to die because the DNA is irreparably damaged. If one strand breaks, a single strand break, your cell will recreate that strand because it's the mirror image of the other strand, right? So it has all the information to create that destroyed strand. But that is the process in which mutations occur.
Sure.
And mutations are what lead to disease. And they accumulate in your body over your lifetime. And the reason I mentioned that particular mechanism, there are other mechanisms that affect a wide range of biological systems, but DNA is in almost every cell of every living thing on the planet. And so when you have a mechanism that impacts something at such a fundamental level that is so ubiquitous, it is a lot easier to digest the idea that this is a force that can cause so many different negative health outcomes.
Right. So it's funny because I'd always heard it explained, and maybe it was just shitty science, which is definitely possible because this is a category of research which is often led by people who have a commercial interest in whatever the outcome is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's often difficult even for seasoned researchers like Tom and I to find out what's good detailed information and what's just fucking marketing shtick, right? But I was originally explained that like some of these waves had the ability to penetrate a cell and some did not. And so like if you did not penetrate a cell, then it was basically just passing through you. And that's where that microwave thing came in. They're like, no, it turns out this radiation doesn't actually penetrate cells. And I'm like, again, I'm not a research guy in this. I don't know. It's hard to say, but to your point about like, we don't know why. I'm like, I don't know that I need to personally know why. It just doesn't feel right? Like it just, there's something about it.
There's a reason that cell phone radiation regulations exist in the first place. And that's because everyone actually recognizes that too much of this stuff is bad for you. The problem is the regulations are set way too high and they're not enforced for reasons we could go into, but it's not necessarily germane.
Right.
But that gives lie to the notion that there is any doubt that EMF is harmful, right? If it weren't harmful, these regulations wouldn't need to exist.
Yeah. Right.
And that's why they exist.
So when you say it's too high, do you mean like they say
threshold is too
high? The threshold.
Okay. So like it could be lower and we'd still be fine health wise.
We'd still be fine?
Yeah, so in other words, like not fine, but
I guess Matt is asking, like, is there a level at which
it's safe? No,
it's safe,
but there's a level at which it is significantly safer, right? I mean, this whole notion of safety as something being safe or not safe is very misleading, right? Because there's a certain amount of risk involved in me crossing the street, right? But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop crossing the street. And so there is no level of EMF, artificial human-made EMF radiation that is safe. But there are levels that are orders of magnitude safer than what we currently allow.
So I think my question was really more like, okay, when you said the thresholds were high, like I think the SAR rating that's okay in the US is like 1.6 or something like that. Or
watts per kilogram.
Yeah, right. And so like Apple Watch comes in at like 158 or something like that, right? Like they're just underneath it. Now, I guess what my question was is 1.6 too high? Could it really be 1.3? And it would,
no, it should be much, much, much lower than that.
Oh, I see. Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
Orders of it should be so. The BioInitiative report. So that's it. Let me. I have it bookmarked just so I get the right URL for you guys.
Yeah,
it's bioinitiative.org.
Okay,
and it's up there for people to go look. That was a research project. My father was one of the authors, but it's an international group of scientists that reviewed thousands of peer-reviewed studies on this topic. They reviewed studies that showed health impact and studies that showed no health impact. And they produced a series of recommendations that have been adopted by some, but obviously not in the United States. And their recommendations, which everyone can go see, the whole report is free, but they also have a conclusions page, which boils it all down in a digestible amount, is that safety levels need to be reduced by or multiple orders of magnitude.
Wow. So that's significant, right? I mean, we're all wearing, I mean, we're all wearing Apple Watches. I mean, my kids
all bathing in it, even if we weren't using the technology.
Yeah.
Yep, that's correct.
But I mean, I drop my kids off at school. It's like the AirPod in one ear, the Apple Watch, their phone in their hand, like just on their body.
Yep.
And I was making a joke, not funny joke, but a joke nonetheless to my son the other day. I'm like, hey, if you're going to give yourself a brain tumor with having this shit in your head all the time, can you at least put 2 in so you kind of like don't
Even
have a tumor on one side of your head, not the other? Yeah, right. You know, like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, just, you know, even that cancer out, dude. Like, you know, like otherwise pick a side. So,
you know,
like,
what a lot of people don't realize is we have no idea what that's going to do to that generation.
None.
Because there's never been a generation that has grown up with these types of exposures.
Sure.
A lot of people, even our age, don't remember that not too long ago, there wasn't Wi-Fi, much less not everyone carried around a cell phone.
Sure.
And there weren't Wi-Fi networks everywhere you go, and Bluetooth technology literally didn't exist.
Right.
And so the kids that are growing up today have exposure profiles that are nothing like the exposure profiles that you and I grew up with.
Sure. And it's funny, we do have a little bit of a tip of the hat towards what might be happening here, because we have already been able to see effectively 2.5 generations of humans that have increasing digital footprints, right? So like the people, I'm Gen X, so we live in that half and half world where our first half of our life had no technology and now we have everything. Our kids, though, don't know life without TikTok or, you know, and when you look at just the socio demographics, socio markers of that, they're more anxious. The suicide rates are through the fucking roof. Like they're a lot more antisocial. Like there's a whole bunch of things. And again, before anyone jumps down my throat, I'm not saying everybody's like that, but when you look at an averaged, like a mean line across that cohort, it's very different than us. And that's just at a behavioral standpoint.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
no,
so
I agree.
You tipped into something that we were going to get into anyway, but let's just break this thing open. Bluetooth, right? I think when people talk about like radio frequencies, I think a lot of people are thinking more like Wi-Fi and cell phones. Like, how is Bluetooth the same or different from?
It's basically Wi-Fi.
It's basically Wi-Fi.
It's just much lower power because it's designed. There's 3 types of Bluetooth, and I forget the specific numbers, but like one is designed to communicate over 5 feet. One is designed to communicate over 15 feet, and one's designed to communicate over 100 feet. And the 100-foot one emits more power than the 5-foot one.
Sure.
But they both emit much less than a Wi-Fi router, which is designed to support multiple connections over hundreds of feet.
Sure.
But it's basically the same exact thing as Wi-Fi, just lower power. And unlike Wi-Fi, a lot of these Bluetooth products are designed to be on your body all of the time. We talked earlier about how distance is your friend when it comes to EMF. When it comes to wearables, there is no ability to create distance. And in most cases, there's no ability to implement shielding, which is like the type of product I specialize in. There's no, because it has to be, you can't put a shield in between your AirPod and your ear. Otherwise, the AirPod won't work.
Sure.
And the same thing for whatever the Ray-Ban, the Facebook, the Meta Ray-Bans and things like that. You can't put shielding on it. So there's no way to use them more safely. And it's not just distance that matters, it's also duration. So a lot of these things are designed to be worn for extended periods of time. You see people walking around with AirPods like it's a part of their body. And so you're getting these very proximal exposures for very significant periods of time on a regular basis. And so while it's lower,
put an AirPod in your ear and fall asleep.
Go to bed,
how do you even fucking do that, dude? That sounds uncomfortable as all get up.
I don't even bring my phone to bed.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, that's like one of my sort of like dirtiest habits.
Break it.
Yeah, putting my phone, because it's my alarm clock, which I don't use that much, to be honest.
I have a solution for you. I actually bought this company. Called Bagby, and we sell their products in the Shield Your Body store as well as on Bagby.
Okay.
And the way I was introduced to the company before I purchased the company was their analog, silent, battery-powered alarm clocks. And they're very popular with my customers at Shield Your Body. And I have two in my bedroom. They're fantastic. So Matt, if you'd like, you can get me your shipping address.
That's fun.
And I will get
I'm looking at it right now. This
clock.
is great.
Is this one of the vibrating ones?
No, it has an alarm.
Makes it audible.
Yeah,
noise.
but it's silent operated. You don't hear it ticking. But it has an audible alarm.
That's so funny. And it's fun. What I'm laughing most at right now is that this is somehow fucking novel. We've had alarm clocks.
This is what we all grew up with.
The funniest part of me learning how to run this company was realizing the effort we had to put into instructions on how to use this thing.
That's hilarious.
Because there's this whole multiple generations now that have no idea what an analog clock is.
Alarm clock, set time. Why isn't it working?
I'm yelling at it.
Yeah. What do these numbers mean?
That's hilarious.
So we have, it's actually the most trafficked page on the site. Is the instruction manual for how to read an analog alarm clock.
When my kids were like 6 or 7, and my son's 17 now, so this is probably like 10 years ago, we were at a thrift store and we saw a rotary phone.
Yeah.
And my kids looked at it. They're like, "What is this?" And we're like, "It's a phone." And my son looks up. He goes, "No, really, what is it?" I'm like, "No, it's really a phone. Like, I don't know what to tell you." Like, and he's like, "How? What?" And they're like so confused. They're like, "How does this work?" And
do you remember pushing the rotary so it
oh
speed
my
up?
God.
Yeah.
My wife's painting the kitchen right now, and they have the old school jack on the wall, right? And she starts talking to me. She's like, "Did you have the beige one?" I'm like, "Everyone had the beige one with the fucking 30-foot cord."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I don't want to take this in here. I'm going to sit on the steps and shut the door.
Yeah. But you had to unspool all the time.
No,
and when you walked around someone else in the house, you had to like navigate the cord.
You had to duck. Yeah.
I mean, listen. And it was funny because I remember it's talking about EMF, right? I remember when our house had the first cordless phone, you had to pull the antenna up and it was like 2 feet tall, like on top of your head. But then it came out with the little nubbin ones, like there was no retraction in the antenna.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, "Oh, you can't use those. They're going to fry your brain." I'm like, "Oh,
yeah, they're pretty bad. They're oftentimes worse than cell phones."
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit. How's that work?
Well, because they're it's like having a mini cell tower in your home that's just constantly broadcasting.
So is it the base then more so than the actual phone?
It's both. It's both.
Wow.
Yeah. Because
does anyone have a cordless phone in their house anymore? I mean, I'm sure there's a few grandparents left.
I have one sitting there only because if I unbundle it with the cable company and only have internet, my bill goes up somehow.
Yeah. I had
like, how do you tell me, like, how does that work?
Yeah, I have the same situation. And I had to go to stores in 3 different towns to find a corded phone because I want it. If I'm paying for it, if I have it,
I want to have it. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to have
use it. Yeah.
Hit
up one of those thrift stores. Get yourself one of those yellow ones from the 80s.
One of the old big dial pad, big receiver.
Yeah. They sell headsets for cell phones that look like the old phone handset. So yeah,
of course. It's funny.
Do those bathe you in EMF though?
No, because they're corded.
Because they're corded. Oh, okay, all right. Well, that's good to know.
And what's funny is I try to be really good. Like my cell phone doesn't touch my body.
That's really important.
Like for the most part during the day, like it's within arm's distance.
Wait, why did you specify during the day? Why is it touching your body?
meaning like when people usually have it on them is during the day, like they're going around to work, whatever. Like my phone is very rarely on me. If I'm out and about, obviously it's in my pocket, but like I try not to be on it. And if I am, I'm mostly on speakerphone, like I'm trying not to have it against my head as much as I can. But look, and I have wired headphones that until they switched over to USB-C and still had the headphone jack, like it's fine. When they went over to USB-C, I know they have them now, but for a while they didn't have any headphones that fit into there. And so like, that's when I ended up getting AirPods, which I try to use as sparingly as possible. But like, listen, just candidly, they're fucking convenient as all get up. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's the thing with a lot of some of this technology is just stupid, but most of it is super convenient, creates economic value. It creates entertainment value. I'm not here to say that this stuff is bad. I'm here to say this stuff has impact and you need to consider that in your personal behaviors.
I think that's a great place so where do we go between like, do we go back and now I'm sending Matt pigeons or
if you really want to live without EMF, where you need to go is 1850.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But so then what's
get in your time machine,
besides
spin that
like,
up,
we're going to talk about your clothing
1850.
and everything, but also what can we do outside of that? I mean, is there a way to have our cake and eat it too?
Yeah. I mean, reducing your exposure, right? Using less of this technology, using it less often, and increasing the distance between your body and the tech when you are using it. And then the selective use of shielding material products like mine to further reduce your exposure, right? So examples like Matt was just saying, he doesn't have his phone on him most of the day. That's huge because we've already talked multiple times about distance being a really big factor here. Phones are a huge source, and a lot of people are carrying them in their pockets or bras effectively all day long, every day. And so it's a huge source of exposure. So you don't carry it right on your person. Every little bit of distance you add makes a huge difference. Or you put it into airplane mode where the emissions are radically reduced.
But back to your original point, though, then your phone's essentially a fucking paperweight at that point. And you're
but then, well, no, because you can't turn a paperweight out of airplane mode.
No, I mean, I get it, but it takes that. Now you have to go in to use your phone. You have to go in. You have to
airplane mode paperweight.
Yeah.
Well, and so that's actually why I focus so much of my catalog on products that make it safer to carry your phone. Pouches and bags that aren't full Faraday, right? Because full Faraday,
you're not getting any signal. Yeah,
you don't get any signal. And the whole use case here is people want to carry their phones and still have it work.
Right.
And so we have pouches, fanny packs, sling bags, even a backpack These are all designed to make it safer to carry your tech while it's still working. But more examples on the behavior changes, switching from Wi-Fi to Ethernet, or just turning off your Wi-Fi when you go to bed, and positioning the Wi-Fi so that it is further away from, like, not next to your couch or not next to your kid's bedroom, as far away as is possible in your living situation. Those are two major behavioral changes that have huge impact. Not using Bluetooth headsets is a big one, because I already explained some of the issues around Bluetooth, but also remember the specific location of those things, man. They're right in your ear.
They're in your skull.
Yeah, they're in your skull, in a part of your skull that has no skull, right? That's how your ear works. There's a big hole there.
It's a giant hole in your head.
Yeah, because bone does provide some degree of natural shielding. But when there's a hole right there, there's no bone.
So it doesn't matter. You can get bone cancer.
Yeah. And also it's close to your eyes. And not just the brain, but many nerves in your head. It's just an important spot, dude. So you really want to take care of that.
You know, my general worldview is most spots on my body I consider important. So I
have prioritization.
I generally think they're all pretty important. You know, I'm just like, let's play loose and fast.
I mean, in between here and my reproductive organs.
Sure.
That is, I'd say, higher priority than everything else.
Right,
yeah.
Like, I mean,
no, fair point.
Yeah, you know.
But we all make trade-offs.
We all make trade-offs. Yeah. You know what? And listen, as a parent, one of my biggest problems is the constant, never-ending pestering from kids. Like, if I turned off my Wi-Fi at like 10 o'clock at night, I'd be fine. I'm not on my phone past that anyway, right? Or at least I shouldn't be, and this would give me a reason not to be, for sure. My fucking kids would bug the living bejesus out of me every second of the day.
So everyone has to make these decisions for themselves and what fits their lifestyle, because you're not going to get to zero EMF. There's just literally no way to get to zero human-made EMF exposure anymore. It used to be that you could go to certain places like the middle of a forest and have basically none. But now these forests have cell coverage.
Costa Rica's got a cell tower everywhere.
So it's like basically you can't go anywhere anymore without some exposure.
So I'm in my house right now.
So it's all about what changes you're willing to make in your situation.
Sure. I'm in my house right now, and I usually have my Wi-Fi off because I found out, funny enough, I bought one of those like $150 Cornet, EMF meters, tri-band meters. And I'm sure they're not clinically accurate, but they give you
no, the Cornet's a good, I don't know which model you have, but Cornet's one of the ones I recommend.
Yeah. It's this guy, the one that everybody got like 10 years ago. That's like kind of
the ED88T.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is exactly right. The right one.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know what this thing found me out? Like, that if I turn off the Wi-Fi on my laptop, it basically eliminates the RF that's coming off of it to my face. Like, I mean, when you turn it on, it goes, like spikes up like super high.
Yeah.
So all I have to do is sit at my desk with that off, and it's infinitely better. And I'm like, I sit here all day, every day. But look, I just turned on my Wi-Fi. Our houses are 1/4 to 1/2 acre lots. So we're not like right next to each other, but we're close. 1, 2, 3, 10 networks that are visible.
Yeah. But your exposure from those other networks is way less than your exposure to your own network. Again, because of the distance issue.
Because of the distance. Okay. So that's interesting. I guess I never factored that, right? Like, you can see 10 of them, but like you're not on top of any of them. So like, okay.
Yeah.
And
but
that's
a good example of why
physical barriers.
Yeah. And that's a good example of why the book I wrote with my father is called Overpowered. There is no reason why your neighbor's Wi-Fi needs to reach your house. It's that it's designed to emit too much power for convenience, right? Because it's designed for the lowest common denominator, right?
Sure.
So the biggest space it has to work in, that's how much power it emits, even if you're sitting right next to it and you're the only user of it.
Sure.
And so, but this is a good example of where you could consider using EMF protection products, right? So there's a product in my store I consider it to be one. I didn't create it, but I sell it. I consider it to be one of the most ingenious inventions. And it's a lower EMF Wi-Fi router. And what this guy did, Jan Rutger Schrader, I'm sure I'm massacring that name, but it is correct. He created firmware to run on a router. So to make it emit 90% less EMF radiation when it is being used, and 0 EMF radiation when it's not being used. And you can adjust the power levels too, right? So meaning you can have it cover less air. You can tune it just to cover the area where you need Wi-Fi and not have it emit so much power that your neighbor is seeing your network.
So that's super fascinating. I guess I got a question for you. Like I've got a Google, my Wi-Fi in my house is a Google mesh network. So I've got 6 of these little pods everywhere. Right. Mm-hmm. And I've got 4 of the 6 are hardwired to Ethernet.
Okay.
But they are Wi-Fi stations outside of that. The only reason I have 6 of them, and they're supposed to be like 3 for your house basically, but I have an old brick house, so like there's areas of the house where we had to put another one because like the Wi-Fi wasn't going through the brick wall.
That's a common issue in Central America, as I'm sure you know, Matt, because all the construction is concrete
everywhere,
and that really blocks the signals.
Right. So like there's this thing that your Wi-Fi router guy, like in those mesh networks that are designed for, either bigger spaces or more, specialized spaces, like, is this something that can be rolled out on those, or you just have to have more of them?
I don't know.
Got it. I'm just curious.
I've never been asked that. I know a lot about that router, but I've never used a mesh network.
Got it. Yeah. I'm curious. I'll definitely look into that for you. If I find anything, I'll let you know, but
cool. But he'll answer your questions too. I mean, yeah.
It's funny. You guys have it's not $150 anymore. That Cornet is now $259.
Well, it's a newer model.
Yeah, it's a newer model. Yeah. So, definitely better. I got to be honest with you. I'm curious about this blocker for your Apple Watch, because like, you know what? That's one of those things where I'm like, look, I'm still your dad. I can still impart some of my craziness on you. Put this fucking thing under your watch.
Yeah.
And
it's affordable too. Because a
lot
of EMF apparel, it's super expensive to make this stuff. You're using silver and you're using a lot of it in low volume production. And so there's no good EMF clothing that is what I would call affordable. But this, I forget the price.
It's like $25. Yeah.
There you go.
But you're right, because when I first got a cell phone, when I first became aware of the specific absorption rate as a thing, right? Mm-hmm. The first thing I thought of was like, fuck, my phone's probably killing me, and I'm right-ish kind of thing. But at the time, and he's since gone out of business, there was a website, I think you and I might have talked about it, but the guy went out of business, but it was a phone block. It was a phone that was blocking the radiation signal, and it would block it only from the one side. So they said, just make sure you put this side against your body, because if you do it the other way, it actually increases. Yeah, right. But then they started using graphene. I know this is more like you can't wear graphene in clothing, at least I'm not aware of, but like it is, that wasn't cheap. Like that was like $100 and something cell phone case, right? Like, and you're like, fuck. I can get this other one on Amazon for like $10.
Yeah. So it's not just the apparel that's more right. So like my phone pouch is something I forget. It's like $28 or something, right? Which is affordable as a product and as a piece of protection. But if you're comparing it against a non-EMF shielded version of the same neoprene phone pouch, you can get those on Amazon for $5, right?
Sure.
So everything that is an EMF protection product is going to be more expensive than the non-EMF protective version of the same product.
Sure. Yeah. And you actually have
the phone pouch doesn't need to use silver, right? So there's several different materials that you can use to create EMF shielding. They're all conductive metals. They work to different levels of shielding effectiveness. Silver and gold and copper are the most effective, but nickel, cobalt, these are also effective. And so the reason we use silver in the apparel is because it is hypoallergenic. And so because apparel actually has to come into direct and extended contact with skin.
Sure.
And so you want something that's safe for everybody. But like the foam pouch, the shielding, the pouch itself doesn't come in contact with your skin, and the shielding isn't exposed. It's in the pouch.
Right.
And so for that, we use a nickel cobalt alloy. And so we don't have to use silver. We don't use silver. We only use silver, I should say, in the apparel and bedding products that we make
interesting.
and that we sell in our store. And everything else uses some other type of shielding material.
And just because is there like a dumb person version of what we mean by shielding? Is it essentially just an EMF condom that you wrap over and physically blocks you? Or
are you dispersing it? Cage, yeah.
It's like sunscreen for UV, right? So it actually blocks, right? So it's when you put on sunscreen, the UV still hits your body, but it bounces off.
I see.
And so that's what EMF shielding does. And as Tom was saying, this is the technology that Michael Faraday invented in the 1830s. And when you use it to fully wrap something, we call that a Faraday cage. And that blocks all the signals from going in and out. And when you use some less coverage than a full wrap, that's just EMF shielding. And so this has been used for a long time in engineering and electronics, right? They integrate EMF shielding in microchips and things like that. And they have for decades because this equipment is very, very sensitive to electromagnetic interference. And so we're taking the same technology that is 200 years old, that has been used in consumer production for decades. We're taking that same technology and putting it into products like foam pouches and baseball caps.
Cool. Hey,
and critically, I will say one thing about shielding that makes it very different from a lot of other forms of EMF protection is that the claims are measurable using a device like the cornet that you were showing, right? So if your shielding is working, even though the cornet isn't as good as what you would get in a lab, it's definitely good enough to see if your shielding is actually reducing the power level.
Sure.
Yeah, you just touched on the thing that I was going to bring up, because for years, because I'm in the quote unquote alternative medicine space, people are, like, oh, I've got these stickers that go on. Or Organite is another one. And I actually have a few pieces of Organite. Absolutely no effect with those, or is there something to them? And I know you're not here to trash other brands or anything like that, but
so I mean, a lot of my customers use products like Organite.
Yeah.
Rather than saying whether it works or not, I will just say I focus on products that have demonstrable, measurable, verifiable claims.
I appreciate that answer.
And because I believe in things and buy things that aren't demonstrable and measurable and verifiable.
I gotcha.
Just because science can't prove something doesn't mean it's wrong. But given how much this space is vulnerable to snake oil, I have chosen to focus all of my work around the types of measures and products where you can actually verify the product claims.
Yeah. And you know what
that's a great professional answer. Ari, you could have called them bullshit, and I would have been like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And hey, and if it's working for you, keep on using it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if it's the placebo effect, that's a real thing, right? I mean, placebo effect is real. And
30%
so
of the time,
if it's real reworking or if it's placebo working, whatever, if it's working for you, keep going.
Sure. And I had to look it up because I couldn't remember it, but I see that you actually sell my second version, which is Safe Sleeve. I see them on your site too. Safe Sleeve, the reason I went to them is because the first one that I told you went out of business and I cannot find them, unfortunately. They did what he did not do. You went to his website and it was just like 800 abstracts and meta analysis of these things. And you see his YouTube videos and he's like basically like a conspiracy nut, right? Like it wasn't presented in a way that you wanted to listen to him. You're like, this guy's fucking crazy, right? Like, and when you go to, Shield Your Body or even Safe Sleeve, I don't know, I haven't been to their website in years, but like, it was like, okay.
Your listeners should buy Safe Sleeve and Shield Your Body.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, exactly.
We carry Safe Sleeve. We carry every major brand.
Right. And like Safe Sleeve, I did put it up against my cornet and I was like, fuck, it works. That's cool. I mean, and I remember that's the only reason I didn't return it, because I'm like, this was like at the time, and I don't know what you sell them for, but it was like, again, it was the graphene one and it was like, 2x what their other one was. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this thing weighs. But it was like lighter too. Graphene's like, paper thin. I mean, it's super easy to.
I've talked to some inventors who've worked with graphene, but I've yet to see a commercial product on the market that uses graphene.
I thought it was a Safe Sleeve. It worked great. I mean, at least on the cornet scale. I don't know if it.
Yeah, I didn't think they used graphene, but maybe I'm misremembering.
Well, this would have been like 2019-ish, I think, is what I just saw. Like, so that I don't know if they stayed to it, because it was prohibitively expensive. It was a 3-digit number, and I was like, okay, this is for.
Oh, so yeah, they cost less now than that.
Yeah. Right, yeah. And it was like, okay, this is a lot of money for a cell phone case.
Yeah,
like,
with the tariffs, they've just gone up to most of their cases are like $70 or $80.
All right, so that's okay. So that's better. I mean, still more expensive than an Amazon, rubber, wrapper, but still, real quick, why, for people who have heard us talk about it a couple times, but I just want to make sure we touch on it a little bit, is why are some of these products make it actually worse for you from a reception or radiation standpoint?
Well, it depends, A, on how they're engineered, and then B, on how they're used. So for instance, with my phone pouch, and I always forget to bring my phone pouch to my desk when I'm having these interviews, so I'd have a visual aid. But anyway, with the phone pouch, you put your phone in the pouch, and then you're designed to put it in your pocket or on your belt, with the back of the pouch in between your phone and your body. And the belt hoop is on the back, so it's very obvious which side. If you're using it on your belt, it's impossible.
Like you'd have to be an actual asshole to put it on backwards.
Yeah,
I like to face it on the inside of the belt.
Yeah. But if you did put it into your pocket backwards, that would increase your exposure.
Right,
but it would probably still be less than just raw dog.
No, it's actually
that would double
it.
Yeah, because the shielding deflects the radiation.
Only on the, I gotcha.
So I knew the answer to this, and I wanted Art to tell us, because like when I first learned this, my head was fucking blown. I was like, no fucking
shield
way.
One side though.
So your tech still works.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to signal,
the second it came out my mouth.
No, if you don't want to signal, I recommend airplane mode.
Mode, sure.
Then you don't need any protection products.
Then it doesn't
matter.
But
if you want to signal, then you can't use full Faraday. You have to do the intentional selective shielding.
And Tom,
there was a sex joke in there about going to airplane mode and not needing contraception, but give me about an hour and I'll work.
But like I just did a test with it, and it's funny because your phone, I don't have any diagnostics to show like cycles of use on the phone or anything, but like the way it was described to me, and the cornet backed this up, is when it can't get a signal, its solution is to increase its power.
Yes, that is correct.
Right.
Wow. So if you're blocking the signal and it's not getting it, and the phone realizes it's not, then it actually is going crazy trying to fix the problem.
That's correct.
And that's why you can get actually worse exposure if you don't use these products the right way.
And another example would be my bed canopy, which it's a bed canopy. But it includes floor mats, so it's full enclosure.
Wow, so it is almost a cage.
Yeah. And you can't use like your phone inside of that canopy. If you did, you would get much more exposure from your phone, because what you were just talking about, Matt, it's going to boost its power to compensate for the interference. And then a huge percentage of that signal will just be bouncing around inside the canopy.
Like a microwave oven.
And the original Sirius XM or the Sirius or XM players that were in your car, a colleague of mine's dad worked on the safety team for one of those. I can't remember which one it was, but he was basically like, don't put any of these radios in your car. Because what ends up happening is it comes into your car and then bounces around on the inside of your car, just basically pelleting you with fucking radiation bouncing off your windows.
Yeah, cars these days are huge sources of EMF exposure. Because
and I've got a full electric car.
They have in-car Wi-Fi, in-car Bluetooth, but then they any signal that gets in, it's like or the phone that you're carrying with you is going to be bouncing around this metal cage. And then there's a ton of these things on the car itself, right? So for that's how Teslas can do over-the-air software updates. Is because the car has, and it's also the sensors that more cars have more and more of.
Tom
and I both have full electric cars, so I mean,
it's funny when you do it, and I knew there wasn't really a greener option. It was like, I don't want to buy gas anymore.
Yeah,
my motivation, and oh, did I make a worse choice somehow? No.
I mean, technically yes, but that conventional gas-powered engines come in cars now that are still huge sources of EMF. If you want a low EMF car, get an old car. Oh, and by the way, hybrids have more EMF than electric.
Oh, how's that work?
Cool.
Because of the inverters. Hybrids need to convert the energy, and inverters are huge sources of EMF.
Oh, interesting. I never thought of that.
So hybrids have more EMF exposure than electric.
Could you somehow shield that? Like, I mean, you would have to have something custom with inside the car.
Yeah, you could. The inverter. Yeah, you could.
But then, like to your point, like, what are you gonna? You could probably wrap the inside of your car in a Faraday cage too, and block all that shit inside somehow. But then your car doesn't work, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
there's a lot.
There's a lot you could do.
So that's a use case when people, because we get a lot of questions into the Shield Your Body store about how do I protect myself when I'm driving, and really, that's one of those scenarios where the only option is apparel.
Right.
And
cover yourself, not the
exactly.
Well, and they have this this Faraday paint, which is like super expensive.
Yeah, I had a friend that was like almost getting a divorce over whether or not he could spend that kind of money on painting his bedroom. Yeah,
but every room has windows in it, right? So my question is,
you can get RF film for windows.
Right, but I guess
RF
my
curtains.
question, just forget about the film for a second. Like, this goes to the clothing thing too. If I paint the office that I'm in right now, there's 2 windows. One of them is a triple window here, right? So a big wall of windows. If I painted this entire ceiling, floor, everything with Faraday paint, but I got these 2 windows here, like, is the paint even doing enough to make it worth the squeeze, right? Same thing with the
shirt. Could have very unpredictable outcomes.
Oh, really?
So anytime you're doing that type of project, I strongly advise people to work with a certified consultant, a building biologist who has the electromagnetic radiation certification.
Now, why is that? Just to factor
because
in?
It's so easy to fuck it up and to make the problem worse. And you're putting a lot of money into it.
Right.
And you're not going to know if you mess it up. I mean, it's really delicate. It has to be done correctly. Oftentimes it has to be done iteratively. You do something, then you see what the impact is.
I see.
And then, because you really want to get it right and you really don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah, I got
putting a lot of money into this stuff.
But okay, so let's take a lower price point, right? I buy one of your shirts, right? Or a pair of pants, or maybe even both. I mean, if it's a short sleeve shirt, I don't have my arms and at a minimum, unless I'm wearing a hood, my head's exposed.
This goes back to the body part prioritization from earlier.
Right. Yeah. So is that really, that's the answer, right?
I did not know until you said it. Building biologist there's a fucking, oh my God, there's a whole organization, there's a certification. That blew me away.
Yeah, I could introduce you guys to some. I know a lot of
them. I would fucking love to talk to one of those dudes. Like, are you kidding me? That'd be amazing.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, because like, here's the thing, man. I think most people, especially people that would listen to a show like this, are just generally curious people, right? They're like, okay, we talked to our last episode was the free diver, right? Like, I mean, what's the difference? What's the correlation between a guy who makes RF blocking stuff and a free diver? Nothing, except for both those people have an interest in health in a different way than, say, maybe
free diving terrifies me.
I couldn't sleep last night. Phone wasn't with me, but I did watch The Deepest Breath.
Fucking great movie.
I think that's the one I saw.
Very sad.
Very sad, but
very
man,
sad.
God damn, that was a good movie.
It was a very good
that's
movie.
Terrifying.
It's terrifying, yeah. And the lady
I'd rather
in that,
go down to the Titanic in that crazy little
than
sub.
free dive.
With a
you're not wrong.
Nintendo controller.
Death is instantaneous.
No, it's and the woman who's in that doc, she holds the world record. I want to say it's like 107 meters. I'm like, that is 300 feet.
I was doing the math. I'm like,
that's a football. That's a football field. Yeah.
Like, you are fucking kidding me. Like, that is so deep. I mean, it's got to be.
Well, every time somebody came up and they blacked out, I'm like, fuck that.
That.
Like, they all black out. Yes, at some point they all black out. No.
Hard pass. But I guess my point is when people like want to have a higher interest in this, I think there's a single digit percentage of the population that's going to hire a building biologist and fucking come in and do a full thing.
Yeah, but if you're going to spend that kind of, because if you're doing a whole room or a whole home installation, you're talking about spending real money. There's no way to do that cheap. I mean, there's ways of doing it cheaper.
Or like 10 grand. Like, I mean, like what kind of
it depends what you're trying to achieve.
Okay.
I mean,
so
it can really
expand it. I'm just actually curious. I mean, hiring somebody called a building biologist sounds expensive.
So I have a couple of chapters in my book that's coming out that go into this process. So the book is called Empowered, and it's all about
overpowered
EMF
to
protection.
Empowered. We're
overpowered to empowered.
Yeah.
And because overpowered is about how it's all the science and how we're being overpowered by these forces. And empowered is about how you protect yourself.
Yeah, got
it. And a lot of it's on the behavioral changes. A lot of it's on EMF protection products, which ones work, how they work, which ones you should prioritize given your lifestyle. But then I also have a chapter on how you would approach a project of shielding your whole home or a part of your home. And then I also have a chapter on how to work most efficiently with a building biologist.
That's amazing.
And, I talk about, when I talk about shielding your whole home, I really underscore, or any part of your home, if you're talking about construction level shielding, you really need to be working with an expert consultant. Because otherwise you're going to get it wrong.
Right. Yeah, it's not like a feng shui thing when you cheap out. You're like, okay, so your feng shui might be a little
and it's not a Marie Kondo thing.
Yeah,
does this give me joy or not? It's like, these are real physical forces that you are impacting with your construction choices.
And so like the book, which I guess could be applicable to really anybody taking oxygen because it affects everybody. But like, do you feel like the people that gravitate towards works like that are more people that are, I know Tom and I were just talking about this on a show the other day about some of his patients are highly sensitive to
chronic
EMF.
illness, everything, Lyme, all the co-infections, Epstein, like they've got it all.
Yeah.
And when you said building biologist, immediately that's where my head went because
and a lot of
them have
a lot of the building biologists found building biology because of their MCAS or their Lyme disease and so it was part of their own healing journey.
Right.
So then they went and got trained in it.
Wow, that's
interesting.
Amazing.
Yeah, we actually had a woman on recently who had a lot of things, and she's actually said, like, I mean, if I'm in a room, with too much of it, I can feel it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cross susceptibility. So what you guys are talking about is generally referred to as electrohypersensitivity or EHS, and there is a lot of cross sensitivity or cross susceptibility between EHS, Lyme disease, MCAS, and mold sensitivity. So if you have one of those, you're much more likely to have one of the others.
Is that have we peeled this back to the epigenetic level yet? Like, is this a cellular or a DNA defect?
It almost feels like an immune system thing or detoxification pathway.
Yeah. To me, and I'm not a scientist or a doctor, so I'm going to
I didn't know if your book, I just didn't know if your book led you to understand any of that stuff at a research level.
Overpowered was really, and it included, it was co-written by me and a real scientist. So I could confidently cover a lot of the science knowing I was getting it right. Empowered is really written for people who are looking for solutions.
I see.
Right? I'm not, Empowered is not written to convince anybody of anything.
Right. It's
Empowered
just,
is
here's your
for,
options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's written as a consumer guide, because there are, and even if you just look at my store, not even anywhere else on the internet, just at my store, we have like 250 products, and people don't know a lot of people don't know where they should begin their journey. And so this book explains how all of these products work, how they fit into your personal protection plan, right? Along with behavioral changes, how you can prioritize this stuff, how different products are, different from each other. And so it's like an instruction manual for what is effectively a very confusing space for a lot of consumers.
Yeah, it's very confusing. I mean, we had Martin Moraid on talking about like the light doctor, right? And just talking about the blue light thing. I mean, if you're just talking about blue light, I mean, we had an hour and a half conversation with that guy about just that. I'm like, and then when I went down the rabbit hole looking at that, I mean, and I brought this up because I saw that you had a blue light area on your site as well. That shit gets intense, and so much so I had to reluctantly buy my first pair of glasses. So I went to
like the real ones, right?
Yeah, I went to Warby Parker because I was like, I'm too.
You should have bought OcuShield from Shield Your Body.
I didn't even know that there was an option, honestly. But I went to Warby Parker because I'm bougie enough to be like, I need blue blocking, I need anti-reflection, I need all these things. And I asked the guy if they had a spectrograph of like what it blocks, and he's like, you're not the first person to ask, but we don't have one. I'm like, so then how do I know what you're actually blocking?
I mean,
like,
he kind of,
are you blocking anything? I don't know.
He kind of crapped on me because I had these like lovely custom ones made from Knockaround, and he's like, that's not the right yellow. You need the amber because you're not blocking the sky blue, which is really the thing that causes the problem. But
so yeah, amber is, well, some people use them all day, but they're not for
not for
regular consumers.
Not to
amber
mention,
is for when you're
like
approaching bedtime.
Let's just be honest.
Believe me, I think we did an episode with those two on, and I'm like, I'm definitely never watching that one.
I'm definitely not doing this.
No, I just got these are Mont Blanc glasses, and I just got the blue light layer on it when I ordered them.
Which, you know what, listen, from a marketing standpoint, I can appreciate people like Warby who are like, look, what do people want to buy? They want to buy, they're all on Zoom calls all day, so we have to have an anti-reflection, which I think comes on pretty much all their glasses. But then they're like, but blue light is a thing, so we're going to block that too. And apparently, if I wanted to volunteer for this torture, I could actually call Warby Parker and figure out who to talk to there. But there is a spectrum.
Yeah, so the OcuShield glasses that we have on the Shield Your Body store, those include all of the spectrum data that you're talking about, and they're certified as a medical device by the FDA.
Oh, wow, cool.
No way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Use your
FDA
HSA.
in the US, and then also by whatever it is in England that does it.
So, that's interesting. So I'm looking at this now. Oh, interesting. You literally just, I think this is almost the exact same thing. Yeah, and then what do? I go get a lens on this, or these come with some magnification on them, or like, how's this?
If you buy from us, they're non-prescription. Okay. You can get prescription ones if you order directly from OcuShield.
Oh, I got it.
But we don't carry prescription.
But see, look at your site here. It says this. 99% of UV between 300 and 400 nanometers, and 54% between 400 and 470. Now that 4 to 470,
that's the big
is
problem.
what Martin was saying was like, you need this shit gone. Like, inversely, and I've done this, Tom, I don't think I've even told you this, but since that episode, which is got to be 6 months ago now, when I take a walk in the morning, I am eyes wide open, no sunglasses, looking up as much as I possibly can.
I got yelled at because 3 days later, every bulb in our house was amber except for the bathrooms.
Oh, my whole house is. I spent like $900 on light bulbs one day.
I wasn't buying the Bluetooth like let's change with the day. I was no. I know how many light fixtures I have. I did the math real quick. I'm like, I can afford the yellow bulbs.
But I was just talking the other day about this with my wife, and she obviously always thinks I'm crazy. But I was like, have you noticed that hanging out in our family room since we swap these bulbs is a little bit more relaxing than it used to be? And I don't care if this is placebo effect. I just don't feel.
Look, man, my kids don't sleep. My kids don't sleep. We change the bulbs, and the little one comes down. She goes, and then I'm like.
And blue light is
the teenager's
EMF.
Sleeping.
Is it really?
Yeah, blue light is EMF. The visible light, the entire visible light spectrum is right in the middle of the electromagnetic spectrum. It's the only form of EMF that we can see.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So all this shit that we're looking at. Yeah.
The ultraviolet looks real cool. Like when you ever see like what insects see? Oh God.
Yeah.
Have a hell of a time.
Wow. Hey, listen, R, I could literally talk about this with you for months, but we have to wrap it up at some point. When's your book coming out? I'm excited about this.
September 15th.
Okay, cool.
You can sign up for the wait list at shieldyourbody.com/empowered.
Cool.
And you'll be notified as soon as it's available. It will be at a discounted price at launch.
Cool.
So that's a great opportunity to snag it.
Yeah, I'm excited for that because, like I said, I mean, the people, myself included, forget about everybody else. I'm excited about these things because this is what makes, when people are like, oh, we're in an exciting time to be alive. For me, this is what that means, right? Like we got people like you putting out books like this for shit we never had an opportunity to really know about and talk about. And everyone's got their head in the sand right now, about this. And half the time, so much so, I've been gaslit by everyone in my life to think that I may be crazy, that this is all made up, that it's fine,
two things can be true at once, Matt.
Yeah, I guess.
You can be crazy, and this could all be
I can also be crazy, yes, yeah. But look, it's all around. You can't go. You want to think. In New York City, I was there the other day. Just pages of Wi-Fi networks.
It's brutal. Going to a city for me is very challenging. Because I enjoy cities. I've lived in them before, but as I've gotten older and as the EMF profiles have just continually increased, after 2 or 3 days in a city, I really feel high strung. It's definitely impacting my sleep. And, EMF is a part of it. It's also the noise and the light.
Yeah, it's everything. You can't really
the energy of the whole thing.
You can't peel the onions out of the soup per se, but it's all part of the same, a little bit of everything is a lot, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
well said.
Cool. And shieldyourbody.com is the e-commerce side, and that's where we can get all these products and all that stuff.
Products.
Yeah, it's very cool.
It's the largest store of its kind.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. So cool. R, thank you so much for sharing time with us today. It was awesome.
Thank you, gents. This has been great.
I like some guests, I just fucking Google shit the entire time. And if I wasn't talking, it was because I was literally, you said something and I had to look it up.
Yeah. Yeah, it is tough. This is one of the overloads of this show.
Well, it's so much information. It's a benefit and a curse, as they say.
Yeah. But it can get a little daunting because I've spent hours after shows sometimes. And this is another one. Honestly, this is one I've gone down a lot. So maybe a little bit less today just because I've gone down this rabbit hole a million times. But even this building biologist, now I'm like all interested in what the hell that is.
We need to talk to one of them. At least one.
I'm like, so. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you.
Talk to you guys.
Thank you, R.
Later.
Bye.
Be subversive, irreverent.
Health is wealth, but you knew that.
Everybody knows that.
But so is following us on social media at Irreverent Health. And check out our website for more exclusive content at irreverenthealth.com.
Oh, I like this.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Irreverent Health.